by our well-known instructor Henry. And this program is being live broadcasted at YouTube as well as being recorded. So if you do not want to be visible, please turn off your side of the video camera. And if you want to change your name so your name won't be visible, you're welcome to do so. Here is Henry. Thank you.
Thanks, Yongle. So this is the 5th class Chinoiserie style watercolor painting. Today we're going to learn Wisteria. We have Wisteria here. The leaves is from a live plant, backyard. I don't have the flower live, but I do have silk or plastic, I'm not sure, artificial Wisteria here. We can study as our live model. Instead of a live model, we do have a flower. And so you can compare the paintings in the handouts. Some of the paintings are from the wallpaper style. Some are chinoiserie, or actually I didn't find a good chinoiserie, typical chinoiserie painting, but instead other than the wall painting, wall decorations. But I do have some references that is more a Chinese Gongbi or mogu or boneless style. Bone means outline. Gongbi means fine outline. So when we draw, when we paint Wisteria, we need to understand some botanic knowledge of the flower and the leaves. The leaves and the flowers, when they just grow in the early spring, it come out without the tendril, from the vine or the tendril of last year's plant. So the green ones are actually the new growths. Usually we don't see them until after the flower. They might be tender ones. So the leaves is like a rose, but you can see the rose behind me in my background. That's a rose vine with the hummingbird nest on. It was built on a rose vine this time. But the shape of the leaf is a little narrower and longer, right? It's much softer than rose. So in the painting, we usually depict the side, the front side, and distinguish the back side and the front side by different shade. The color on the front is usually darker, same as the rose, I think. If you turn you don't really see in the live flower. I didn't really emphasize on that. But in painting, sometimes we make it more decorative, maybe, if for some reason you want to distinguish it. But in freestyle painting, the leaves are painted in one stroke. So the wall paintings, many of those are just one stroke kind of paintings. So we will draw some later. So you just understand the shape of the leaflets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 or 7. It's all odd numbers, maybe pairs of leaflets, and then in the front is a single one. We call this like a feather shaped leaf. I don't know what's the botanic term exactly for this kind of leaf. Very unique in this plant. Okay, so if you paint only this much, like 5 leaflets, it will look like a rose. But when on the tender maybe near the flower it could be less, but in this artificial flower there's this is broken, I think. Yeah, it should be all come with but they alternate the pairs. In reality, it should be paired from the same position in the stem. Okay, so that's very important to understand the shape of this. In painting, we don't really care about the perspective. We just do what we understand the truth is, without considering the illusion, perspective, that kind of distortion. The flower is a little bit more complicated, but it's basically butterfly shape. So they're large, two petals, but combined on the top, and then two small petals under it. In the bud has no. It's like what do we call this? Some bean flowers that kind of. I know it's like bear or some shape. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just one stroke thing. So the color is dark on the lower part of the petals, the lower petals near the bottom, and also the buds are the purple, or what do you call it? Purple or lavender is the lighter shade, right? So there are different kind of purple. There's no perfect purple to blend on the palette. I'll show you how to get the color right. But basically, it's a graded wash. Okay, you have to use 2 brushes on sized paper. On unsized paper, we can load different color, like the white, from white to light purple, the dark purple in one stroke. But on non-absorbent paper or silk, we will do it with 2 brush separately. One charge delivered the paint, and then the other we spread it to create a degradation or variation in tones. Anyway, let's draw some composition. First, you can use just any computer paper or art paper. I'm using this mixed media pad that's recommended by my Western watercolor teacher, Robert Heron. We did a class yesterday, a master study. If you had a chance to take a look, we studied the great wave of a Japanese master, Hokusai. And this the t-shirt I'm wearing is actually early kind of inspired design by Hokusai's great wave. You can see that. Okay. So, like we study how in Western painting, we always do some preliminary drawing. Just the thumbnail is like a credit card size or business card size, 3 by 2 or something like that, 2.5. So you draw a box, and then let's just take any painting. I have several sketches for composition, and we can go from there. That's page 4, 5. I'm not sure. Okay, on this page, there's our horizontal composition. I'll use a simplified shape for the flowers, like a little ice cream cones, and you can combine them and try to arrange them across the page. But you might think the vine should come first. Yes, that usually it's considered first. If we don't have this draft in front of me, I will draw the vine. But some, at least you can put some important clusters of flower first when you paint, because it's difficult to place the flowers later in front of the trunk or leaves, right? If you have some flowers in front of the leaves or the vine, you should put it first. That's why, you know, in composition, you can do some key groups first. And then when you consider composition, we have 4 phases of movement. 4 phases of movement. There's a feeding going on behind me. It happens every 20 minutes or 15 minutes. You can take a look. Very rare perspective of seeing this knife. Okay, so speaking of 4 steps, 4 phases of movement. We have starting phase or entrance point. We in Chinese 起 chen. The second is development. And the 3 is turning. 转. The 4th is ending. 结. Same principle applies to maybe music, writing of an essay. When you have an opening statement, a development, elaborate the idea, and turning some kind of shift of directions and conclusion. So each phase has a different guidelines. Okay, here, the starting point, you cannot. Okay, I have seen many Western artists who, when they do flowers, there's no starting point. They just paint the flowers, no entrance of the root, the stem. Okay, that's very completely different from Chinese flower and birds painting. Do you agree? You know, like I compose when I compose an image like this video, I will think, you know, the entrance, which usually come from the 8 points. And can you see this 8 point? You cannot really see because I have a grid here. Okay, let me just mark it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So if you draw a box and you mark the quarter, not quarter, the thirds. Okay, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. So the starting point is usually located near these 8 points. And where you don't want to start your branch or the vine is the corners. So all the corners or the middles, okay, should be avoided. Yes.
I'm sorry. Could you focus more clearly on these words that you wrote? Starting, development, turning, and ending, right?
Yeah, if you could type those in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, I got focus on my notebook so you can see better. So I usually mark, I number them 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not sure if I'm consistent doing this, but you can do just for convenience. There's no uniform numbering system, but yeah, we usually start from the bottom. That's most common. 1, 2, position 1, position 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In a wisteria vine, you can start from the top, but usually the flowers plant usually come from those lower positions. Sometimes with some kind of photographic view, you can start a branch from the top. But in wisteria, they can go up like this, and then goes on top. Okay. Here, you can even consider the some exit point. Also follow this guideline. You can go in and out. So if you use this grid, this is 8 position of starting a branch. It will help you to identify them, I think. And then we also have a host and guest, 宾主 主 主次 whatever you call it. We call it host and the guest. Let me see. Host and guest, host role and supporting role, you might call this. So usually there's a main development, and then there's a secondary. So the main trunk or branch or vine is stronger, thicker, older, and then the supporting one is thinner. But they usually follow the main branch. So the supporting one usually follow that direction. Okay, and then what's the development? Development is like it goes up, and then you continue that direction. It goes to the left or to the right, diagonally usually. All right, and then I would think the initial movement is like a C shape. Yeah, it's like this. So at some point, like here, we will see a turning point. That's what we call the turning. So usually it has to do with a directional change. So you could go down, even goes back somehow. You change the directions. Okay. And then the ending part is conclusion. So it should have a complete. That's very important. It should be complete. The ending should be complete within the frame. So you don't want to go out again. You want to finish. The finishing part should be complete. The ending or finishing should be complete without going cut too short or going. So also you usually leave some space. Either if it's a branch like a plum blossom, there should be some extra space towards the sky where you end the twigs on the top of the branch, right? So that's the general four phases of movement. So if you analyze a Chinese painting, like Wisteria or any other flowers, if you see some violations, any rule could be broken. They might start from the middle or from the corner, or from right, that's all problematic, and you need to fix according to those principles. Okay, that's one thing. So if you look at the other small sketches, we just identify those. Where's the starting? Number 2, but not on the corner, right? So it goes. If you could have 2 starting branches, there's one maybe behind, and then you can kind of wind up like that. So it's basically going up, right? The direction of this is going up, and then you have a turn. I will say this is a turning point, right? So it turns to the left, and then finish is. This is the finish. The finish is with a flower cluster. So you really don't want to get into detail yet, just to understand the 4 phases first. And there's another flower and a little leaves there. That's not really important. And then you just kind of follow the flow of this. Okay, so that's starting, developing, turning, and ending. Okay, so this one, this one we'll do maybe actual painting of that. When you have a focal point like this, there's a bird, right? And you want to do the bird first, and then you want to put it in a golden spot, maybe. Yeah, it should be like a golden rule. Yeah. Then where's the starting? Here, so not in the middle, not on the corner, right? And the starting should be suggestive. Other than host and guest, it should be suggestive. What's it? Suggestive. Suggestive means suggest their paintings outside the frame. So you should, if you just start from the middle of this this page, does not suggest anything. It's cut like a cut branch, right? But if you introduce the branch, I mean the vine from outside the picture, you would you suggest the tree outside, and then some branch will go out, like can go out. Suggest more. Some leaves can go outside the frame. Don't be afraid to break the frame. Okay, here the ending is here, right? So this one goes up, basically a diagonal movement, and then there is a turning point right at the where the bird stands, going down, right? And they're going behind some behind the flowers, some in front. That overlapping is a different issue. And then basically you need to understand where the branch or the vine goes. That creates the structure, the underlying structure of the flowers and leaves. So they're not floating in the air, flying in the air. So that's basically a C composition with some not really C. I hate to use numbers, because when you use the C, when you use S, everybody is the same. But if you use this, if you apply this eight positions of starting a branch and then follow the three the other stages, developing, turning, and ending. You can compose any picture with the same elements without repeating. Okay.
Henry?
Yeah.
So, remains.
I cannot hear clearly.
Oh, okay. So, an image should stay inside the frame and not
your sound is very cracking. I still cannot hear clearly.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Maybe you can type. Let me see.
In the chat.
In the chat, okay. So ending should not go over the edge. Yes. Yes. Should be completed within the paper. Yeah, it's the ending. If you go outside, that's not an ending, right? It's exiting. Exiting. Well, you can exit. And then yeah, that's a good point. So there's an exiting point, like here, you exit at number 5, but ending is doesn't have anything to do with the 8 positions on the edge. Okay, so only exit and entrance has to do with those 8 positions. If you come when you start, you can do the opposite way. What's the opposite way is you just fold the paper into halves. So those half point and the corners should be avoided, either for exiting or entrance. So if you then you can go just around. So in and out is okay. Yeah, it should be. You can go out, but those outgoing branches are not your finishing. So so it's more, the finishing is sometimes more important, but it could be could be a kind of focal point, but
yeah.
Look at here. There's no focal point. Maybe there are main groups or supporting groups, but these are just it was think in terms of rhythm of dense and sparse. I would think the negative shape. Those are other issues in composition we talk about. But I think it's a good practice with Wisteria. The 4 phases is very clear, very clear. The 2 lines of development, the main, the host, and the supporting lines. These are very important, very good subject matter to study. Okay, the next I'm going to do one of these paintings. I don't have a Chinoiserie style painting to study today. Unlike those fine art you have mastered. I don't really those designers are usually not considered like painting masters. So but anyway, doesn't matter, right? We try to use what we learned from the decorative Chinoiserie approach to paint the Chinese style of Gongbi, or what do we call the semi-Gongbi, or boneless, Gongbi without outline, called boneless. Bone in Chinese, 古法 means outline method. Without using outline, we call it boldness. So let's do a color sketch. We already did the thumbnail for the positioning. Okay, let's just do. I think we should draw something near the proportion, like the computer paper. I'm not sure if it 8 by 11, kind of 8 by 11 proportion. So that looks probably right. And we can do a quick color study. So if we let's draw a sketch first. We just draw a quick egg-shaped body for the bird and a small egg. This is very important. When you draw a bird, you want to make the two egg shapes in proportion, so the head is not so big. But if you look at the small bird behind me, you see the head is slightly feel like bigger because the tail is not fully developed. If you want, we can draw those newly fledged birds, and we put a beak on that and put a tail and the wings. Well, just very suggestively, the bird has the body and the back in different colors, so we need to separate that. You can paint the wing, the shoulder part like that, and also just a quick sketch. Okay, the position of okay, there's a main branch like that. This painting is a unknown artist practice kind of painting, but it's very good practice. I use it. We can refine it. That's what we. You can put some kind of intervenes, like maybe some in the front, some. Okay, then the flowers at this point we just draw an overall shape, just like an ice cream, like a ice cream cone with another the overall shape. The envelope is like that, and then you can put a line, maybe just a little detail. But we'll do a color study, not color rough, we call it, in watercolor painting class. So okay, here there's the ending should not be right in the middle, right? So it's somewhere right there. That's the ending branch. You can call this whole cluster the ending part of the composition. So this is the turning. Turning is just the point, turning point. Okay, here it's a developing. It continues to exit here. Okay, and there's some leaves and a minor group. This one is smaller, maybe less flowers. Okay, here you can do some more leaves. This is feather-shaped grouping, but in perspective, you can do just half, maybe a little bit on the other side like that. You can just reduce to one leaf, omit that small leaf. That's something just like that. Then we can add little tender leaves on the top of that, maybe some leaves like that. Okay, and then we'll do a quick color study. Okay, we can wash the background with two colors. One is yellow ochre. Maybe you can mute it with little whatever color, just to gray it a little bit. Just a warm gray, basically ochre color. You can use yellow and a little bit red, a little bit blue, or just brown. Maybe will do. So that's on the lower corner, maybe like that. And then you can wash the brush and usually we put a little bit red, then we make it into so we can add a little bit red. So this is the flower part. So just behind around the flowers. This is very thin. It's like 2%, maybe 1% consistency. It's very watery. So this goes to a pink, orange color, something like that. And then in the sky, we want a little bit turquoise, maybe. If Chinoiserie people like turquoise background a lot, and you can use turquoise and a little bit cobalt. Maybe cobalt is too dark. You can sing it, just sing it. Okay. So okay, just color the whole thing. And it shouldn't be equal, so probably we just make this part purple, not pink, so more blue, maybe a little more. It's okay, that's all. And then we dry it. Okay, let's say we want to, you can paint the flowers first, or you can, whatever. Let's just do the bird first. So the bird is really the focal point. If you want to really contrast with the purple, I'll go with the yellow. And there's a bird called Aurea. It's bigger than this. There's also small birds. I think in spring you can. Let's just do a little bit yellow on the back. See how it works. Just use some elements from the aureole, and then the tail. I think the wing is dark, black. The head is black, something like that. Just make it simple. If it doesn't work, we can make it green easily. And the belly, I think it's just light yellow, creamy yellow or something. Anyway, it should be lighter. And the flowers, we will use masking fluids. Maybe after this layer, you can do this. Masking also, to protect the light color. You can also use a gouache, which if you don't mind using opaque colors, we always use white in Chinoiserie, I think. But let's just use a very light purple to start with. you can use the really like a violet, but usually it's good idea to blend your own. Just use magenta, a little cobalt maybe, or ultramarine for the dark. You can also use magenta and turquoise, or use mineral blue and I think there's a peony red or carmine. Carmine may be a little bit cheesy. Peony is dark kind of crimson color. With this turquoise, we can also make a good purple. And this is for the darks, I think. For the light, it's really thin, so you just use water. If you don't want to use white, just thin it. And then some part is more blue, some is more red, but you should have a dominant purple color. It's either warm or cold. I think it's really a personal taste issue. I like more bluish ones personally, but many people like purplish, reddish purples. So that's it's all okay as long as it's not too even. You should have some blue, some towards red, I think. Okay, the leaves, and then the darkest part will be added after it dries. The leaves should be just a grass green, because the leaves in the spring is much yellowish. So we can just do tender leaves. In Chinoiserie, they use dark to get the idea of like a shadow later. And you can add brown and blue to it to make it darker to do the shading. Okay, that's the color for basic color is the grass green, and okay, I've missed another flower here. So that flower definitely is bluer because it's not fully open yet. So maybe just a little bit bluer. And you can add a little red just to vary a little bit. Okay. All right. The stem will use brown. You can use amber or jiaoca. That was the burn amber, burnt sienna, or burnt tea color. Using several colors, idea to add some blue to mute it. So that's the trunk, and here's the little branches. Okay, it's very important to understand where it comes in, where it goes, so it becomes thinner. I just realized before the class in the handout I maybe made this part too thick, so I'm going to correct that. So you don't want to violate the natural principles like this. So the branch usually is going from, unless there's some special reason for having very unusual variations, like here you can have a little ball shape or something, maybe with some earness of the plant or whatever the cause, the bark or something. Usually they're going this way. It's from thicker to thinner, and so I know the movement. Otherwise, if you have this part suddenly thicker than here. So people will think, oh, this is the starting, and then they will totally got lost. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind. The change in thickness has to do with the movement, where the root is. So far away or near the tip of the top of the plant is usually thinner, right? And we can use black, but you can just use a blend of like ultramarine and crimson or something to get black, or Serbia like a dark brown color for the darks. So at this point, I just want to see how it look like if we do. I think there's mark on the area like that. And there's some white on the wing. We don't have to do that. So the dark wing and the tail contrast with the yellow back is the aria color. But we don't have to do this. If you want to make it really subtle, you can just use the bird we did in our apple blossom or tree blossom lesson. The green with a little reddish marking on the wing, that would be enough. I think that I forgot the name of the 相思鸟 in English. So anyway, you can make the crown all dark. Maybe sometimes they look like that. Some species of aria look like that. I don't have to decide. We can decide on it. But that's basically the color study. Later, you can add like the center vein or secondary veins. Even if you do a larger painting, you usually add more details. If the painting is small, like a bookmark or a card, you don't really have room for all the details. So that's my general idea of the coloring. Next, I'm going to let's see timing. Okay, we have more than 1 hour, but I will use. You can use size paper, or I'm going to use the silk, I think. So paper. We have one here. It has the golden color. Would you like to see how I use gold? Maybe we can use gold. We haven't used gold yet. Here's a good place, I think. So in this case, I'm not going to wash the sky, but you can, if you use white paper, you can do the wash with very light colors to color it like this. So little bit yellow, maybe less than 1/3, then 2/3 of purple and the light blue would be good. And you can use any way you can suitable for your painting surface to get the you can preserve some white if you want, or in watercolor we usually have take advantage of the unpainted white paper, so that's why you can. But I think because the purple is actually darker than the sky, so maybe we don't have to. Yeah, I think you don't have to. But yeah, I have to use white on the opaque on this one. So we just use white paints without using masking method. Okay. Understand? And now I'm going to. Have you got any light box yet? wish some of you have received yours. So you can just copy my template. In Gongbi, we draw the line. In Chinoiserie, we don't have to. You can draw with light pencil and erase it or just hide it after painting. So let me fix with some clips. They do come with a clip, but it's only one side. I use 4 clips maybe, plus some tape or whatever to hold it. Yeah.
Someone is asking you to show your template.
Can Henry show the template again? Okay, template is this one. It's on my screen. You can. Did you get the handout?
It should be in the handout, right?
Yeah. It's in the handout.
The handout was emailed last night, New York time about 7:30. Sometimes it may be in your spam folder, so if you don't see it, please put your spam folder. Thank you.
Yeah, the handout could be in your spam folder. That's I just repeat your voice for the YouTuber watch. Actually, I have put a link on in the member area for YouTube. Later, you can download from my Dropbox if you're not in the class. Okay. Anyway, so let me turn on the light so I can see the template through the silk. This silk is not mounted yet, so it's translucent. Even with a thin paper like the 90 or 80 pound drawing paper or mixed media paper, you can still see through it with the light box. So let's see what we can do. We also have micron option. The micron water resist, what do we call this, marker, archival ink pen can be used also for tracing purpose. Let me see. The thickness is 0.1. I think we can use the thicker one for the leaf. And if you look at the handout, I use different size. When you draw with ink, the paper, the leaves and the trunk branch outline is thicker than the flower. The flower should be thinner and lighter. So let's just see if this one works. I think it's faster to draw with the pen these days. I cannot really draw this line in class with a brush. Wow, this is so fine. You can just draw the outer line, the center line, the middle line. If I did anything, you don't have to just omit that. I think this line should be very fine and eventually should be covered with opaque paints. Okay. There are 4 petals, 2 on top, like large wings of the butterfly, then 2 smaller ones. The shape is a little bit between square and the oval or round. So because I just copied the freestyle painting stroke. You can make it more realistic according to the real flowers here. You can look at this butterfly shape like this. Can you see it? Let's just put in the picture here, and we can let me see here. You can see that, yeah, just and the shape of the petals, a little sure, what do I call it? It's narrower on top, and then a little like you can see many plants, like a bean kind of plant, has have the same kind of shape. In freestyle, we just do it in one stroke, like one dot. If ever possible, I draw double lines. We call this double line 双钩 meaning double outline, which just means the outline. Double line method, 双钩 double line, yeah. And there's some combined shapes, so I just draw them continuously with maybe just as in one stroke. It just goes around that. I like the Western approach of drawing because whenever possible, they combine shapes that create more interesting shapes. Like here, you can combine two shapes into one without making distinctive distinction between the two. That's okay. So just and the inner line should be even more loose, maybe more lost and found kind of, or thinner, whatever. It's xu, we call it. You don't have to draw the middle dots, the polling. We'll just do it with yellow and then white later. Okay, when I draw this different quality, like the stem of the flower is very tender, so I draw it with fluidity, like fluent lines, without too much stop, like to indicate the tenderness of the tender quality of it. And when I draw those Nord trunk, you should make frequent stop and even some kind of shaking, like some joints, and just do some circling, some kind of hesitation, and go. So you create those rough lines. If I show you here, you may be seeing. When I draw these lines, I go like something like, like joints, not like bamboo joints, okay, but you can have some little, not like those parallel lines. Can you see the difference? So this lines for the stem, this is for the trunk, and the older trunk or maybe the younger trunk has less frequent stops. So drawing is really expressive, and it has also to do with feelings, like Rubens' drawings, right? It's almost like Chinese master painting sketches. Drawing nowadays is the basic training for Chinese art school students, but in the past, the calligraphy is. So both very important fundamental training. Okay. Then some just like behind or something. Okay. Yeah, it's very important to you understand, not just copy. You understand the quality of the object. If it's bony, like a bony leg, or a feathery part of the body. So the lines indicate the quality by its thickness, motion, or that kind of. So I'm kind of correcting my arrow here because it was a little bit too thin, maybe so it become too thick on the top. So I'm going to make this part a little thinner, maybe, and you can draw some little texture. Okay. Oh, okay. Here is the stem. Very important to we have a branch coming out from the stem. Okay, so you want to make those check mark kind of intersection. Don't cross the intersection. So this actually is closer to the style of Gongbi today, but I'm not using, the only difference, I'm not using a brush, I'm using a pen. Okay, look at those leaves. Try to find those corners, but not exaggerate like peony leaves have this. It's a little bit squarish, I'll say, not just to distinguish from the rose, maybe, or the petal of the flower. So those lines are a little straighter with the angled turns, maybe a little bit exaggerated a little bit. Okay, so the actual leaves is here. There's some kind of turning point. Okay. Okay, for the birds, I think the feather will be, the lines will be added later. Do we need a contour line? I really don't know. I don't. Let me see. For bonus painting, we want to keep it feathery. Maybe we can try to do it without. We only do this in maybe the eye, the beak. I want to keep it feathery, the soft edge. And maybe the wings, we can do something with the wings. Okay, and those little check, little V shape. There's a perspective thing, I think. Maybe a little dotted line, just some key points. I will see. The tail maybe a little darker, so we can draw this. It's like a, okay, and we can use the surrounding part to just do a little bit dots, kind of give me a little. I will keep the template in place when I paint, so I really don't need to draw completely. Let me just finish this part. Okay, I want to make sure this is not too thick. So this is going to exit here. And some leaves. Okay, the other flower is supporting flower. So this shape actually is from the brush stroke from the reference photo, but you can make it more realistic if you want. But in this kind of painting, everything is kind of patternized, but without repeating. It's a different kind of wallpaper. If you see the samples in the first 2 pages of the handout, there's some they're just complete plant grow on the wall like a vine on the entire wall space mirror, not like repeated patterns. So Wisterias is really suitable for decoration of a purple room. The purple color is a noble color, very auspicious color. According to Taoism, it's a good omen, good luck omen to see the purple air in the sky. That's for the first, the first recorded phenomena is the Laozi. When Laozi migrate to the West to leave China to educate, he was disappointed with the political situation in the Zhou dynasty. He decided to run to cultivate barbarian, and before he passed the last the pass the Hangu, I think the Hangu pass, the person in charge of the pass saw a purple air in the sky, so he knows someone important, some sage person is coming. So he set up all the ritual, like burns incense, welcomed Laozi, the founder of Taoism. He became his disciple. He requested him to leave his teaching in 5,000 words or characters, known as the Tao De Jing, the Tao and its power. That's the only text of Taoism which teaches the way of nature and society. Okay. Whenever possible, I'll do double line. Okay, here's the woody part. The woody part of the branch is a little different. So it has more like those frequent stops, and it will be different color. Could have nods or something like that. Oops, that's a bit too dark, too thick. It's okay. So I just draw some kind of, and you can use multiple lines to depict the dead, the nods, the little start of the old dead branch or something like that. So you can also even make holes. Okay. Okay, I'll just use dotted line. I'm not going to do any feather. That will be done after the color. Okay. So Are you finishing this? Let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see my drawing here. Let me see if I. Okay, if I turn off, you can see the drawing without the template. Right? Actually, we don't need the template anymore, I think. I'm going to do the color now. On this kind of paper, you want to do the opaque, very thin opaque. There are some pitfalls we try to avoid from early class. I've seen, even myself made some mistake. The color white, for example, if you do it first, you have to keep it thin, so it will not be disturbed easily. And I can also use maybe acrylic to avoid that. So let me try different approach. Oops, this is dark. Maybe acrylic gouache is more stable. Okay. But in any case, you want to keep it to very thin. So I'll just thin it with water without any build up. Ideally, the silk texture or the paper silk, paper texture should be still visible. I'm not going to use two brushes. I think we just color the whole thing, make it a white Wisteria first. There's white, there's a white Wisteria in real life. So okay, you can just paint it almost like a freestyle. I think one stroke. But you want to keep it thin. That's why I think you cannot use just a one-stroke approach. That usually it's too thick. So you want to use the second brush should be damp, not too dry. If it's too dry, it just simply take out the paints. If it's too watery, it runs into the paints, and it just make it rain. So you want to have just the right wetness or the moisture in the clean brush. I call it color brush and color brush, and you don't have to do the separate gradation because we want to cover the white. I mean the yellow evenly first.
Me?
Yes.
Can you zoom in more to?
Okay. All right. Can you see? Okay. Let's see if we focus better. That's the for the little petals, I think I think we better just do it all. You don't have to worry about the inner lines, just cover it. Eventually we want to cover everything with the line, I think. But if your line is lines like mine, I'm sorry, just kidding. You can leave some good ones and cover the bad ones. Partially just to cover it. Okay, basically I want to make an even spread. Try to avoid. I have tendency to paint it too thick. I know. But I need to cover the yellow, so maybe we don't have to cover the yellow. You can leave a little bit, so it will become kind of like a light yellow color. That's fine, I think. Yeah, just make it even. Make it even is good. Someone is calling my phone. Sorry, cannot pick. Okay. Yeah, you see, in Gongbi painting is much easier because you can repeat, you can do it in multiple times. Just need patience to make it even and clean, neat. The key is cleanness, neatness. It takes patience and it takes time. That's why this kind of painting is is only sponsored by the court. It require like a time commitment, full time, very slow process. So this decorative painting could be done over months, maybe. If it's like a covering the whole wall of the hall, the palace, right? So I'm using this gouache, acrylic, from Heron. It's titanium white acrylic gouache. I think when this dry, it will not easy to stir up when you add colors to it. Another thing is, can we still add color? I think so. Okay. If you want the softness, you can go a little bit beyond the edge, the line, I think. Okay. Let's say if we just wet the area a little bit. Would that help? Not sure. Just try. Maybe that could. But for that's really for some color change. You know, if you want just a straight, flat wash to begin with, just do with one creamy. Maybe. If the color itself is yogurt from the tube, this one I'm using is about like a cream, milk cream, not so thin.
Henry?
Yeah.
If we are painting on white paper, should we still paint the balloons?
No. Okay. On white paper, that's a very good question. I think we let me. Can I, while I'm doing this, so you know what I'm doing, I can show you a clip of what used by a famous teacher. He's actually one of my favorite freestyle painting teacher, but he teaches Gongbi briefly to his class, and that's very relevant. Although he does, for example, the rose, but I think the basic concept is the same. So I'm going to bring out Huo Chunyang, his name, teaching some. I think it's a short lesson. I hope so. You can watch. I'll explain why we watch that. Okay, let's just change the birds into the Huo Chunyang's painting, so I can do two things together. Let me see, channel playlist. Okay. Here's another Chinoiserie. This is on the colored paper. I'm not going to use this one. Okay, look at this one.
Hi everyone, Mark Barden here at Sandy Hook Promise. On December 14th, 2012.
主要应该学到的有几种，这个当然说勾线，也是在双钩的方法，
do a quick play.
也是在工笔花鸟画里边常用的手段。勾线是一种很重要的。再就是剩下的就是一种 染法。
Can you explain the main spray?
有粉染，有碰染，有接染，啊，当然这几种方法来讲呢，这个演示一下，给大家演示一下。
He's going to demo the several methods of wash on
还有一种方法叫做
in
点染，
Gongbi.
一种这样的一种粉染，一种粉染呢是先上颜色以后，然后把它晕开，晕染。
Can you explain the main spray spotlight for everyone?
这个水分呢一定要大，水分小了以后不行。我这个水笔一定要水呢，一定要少于这个颜色笔上的水，然后才能够把这个越来越淡，越来越淡，把它晕开。水要大了以后，把这个颜色就冲回去了。
Okay, he says the first is the separate wash, graded wash. One brush with color, the other brush with water. The water should be not too much or not too little. Too much will make the color dry back the color. Too little will drink up the color.
这中间可以留点
You
白线
can。leave a white space between the two strokes, two sections, to avoid bleeding.
因为这个笔根里边呢是水，这样不需要再回去了，因为咱们这个天啊很暖。
Do not leave any
它已
puddle.
经在固定，
Use the bottom of the brush to take all the extra moisture away at the finish touch, at the end of each.
就脏了，就是一次性，这很重要。
It's very important to take one shot. Do not repeat
干净。
to keep it clean.
还有一种染法，就是说呢，先铺上水，这样以后
Another
就有一个优点，这个容易出来以后活，它不会出现呢那个痕迹。
to eliminate brush strokes, you can apply a little bit of water to avoid brush traces. Yongle, can you do the translation? Let me slow it down a little bit, maybe.
这种方法比刚才这种方法更容易这个坚活、通透。它借助于因为纸上有水了，
Let me see.
那个它不容易把那个笔痕给定住，这样以后它散开的自然。
This method with water, it's easier to make it
先铺上水，
spread evenly, naturally.
So when you spread the water on the paper first, before you put color, you avoid brush strokes, lines from the brush.
点点颜色，再把它引，逐步让淡下来。
This is the clean brush. That
一变成
one
回缝，再回去以后再来回的
Do
这样，
not
这样
repeat.
倒就坏了。
It's very important. Do not repeat. I think I keep repeating myself. It's hard. But on silk you can repeat. Because on paper it's less tolerant for
第
repeating.
三步呢，
Wash.
我必须把这一步画出来以后，然后第三步再完成。
When he's using the pastel color,
This is any color is same. This is the for the leaf he using the
水太少了以后呢，
one color is
会出
indigo.
现把这个第一遍的那个颜色给吸跑了。
Yeah, and he says the second brush is too dry. He just it taken away the first brush stroke.
"这个水笔上面的水头是至关重要的，这个大了不行，小了不行。
the amount of water in the clean brush.
搅了以后，把颜色一吸，把那个一下子都吸的没水了以后，你晕不开了。水大了以后，它往回一冲，再冲回去冲脏了，
Yeah.
它那个痕迹不自然了。
Yeah. Not too much or too little.
啊，这是一种染叶子的一种办法啊。
And is he using size?
Yeah,
染
size
花的这个办
size
法的时候
strand.
呢，跟这种办法实际上基本差不多。
Yeah, this size strand does not smear. Right. Okay, here's about petals. It's similar to what we were doing for Wisteria. This he's using the rose as example. You can replace the carmine with another color, but same procedure. So this at the end of the petal with some. So on white paper, you can do this right now. Just follow this method, okay? So you place a little bit darker purple at the end of the petal, like this.
再有呢，从上边。
And also on the tip of the petal, just a little bit, charge a little bit, and then use the second brush, the clean brush, to pull it. So they meet in the middle. Naturally, gradually.
So he cleans
笔
the
根
second
一定是
brush
在
all the time, right?
上边，
Yeah, the second brush
这样把它
is
引出
usually
去，从上往下，这个
the finishing touch. Yeah, it takes extra moisture away.
画出来
at the
这个
same
它
time.
是有
Oops.
I bring people together to work
The
with
second
shade.
brush
That's
is
how I'm
always
tackling
clean.
homelessness and COVID, creating quality.
What's your question?
The second brush should always be clean.
Yeah, you should keep clean. You use yeah, if it's dirty, just keep it clean. Yeah.
再画一种
Second
烫染的一种方法。
second method is to use different colors, like I think he's using. Okay. White.
这个用白是从这头往
Okay.
这头，
White from top down, pink from bottom up, or purple from bottom up. This is called two color
把它们俩
meeting
连接起来。
in the middle. Yeah. I use a clean brush to combine them.
碰在一起，
Combine.
白的往那头走，红的往这头走。趁湿的手，一定趁湿的手。这样以后，这碰在一起，融在一起，
So the effect of the
一种接染。
wet brush is wet and wet mix of colors.
先上草绿，接着这个绿，用红接这个绿，再拿白接这个粉。 这个粉尖上再重一点，这儿再碰它一下。这是 经过这样这个3个这个程序的变化，由绿变红，由红变白，接过来的。
So this is an example of changing from green color to pink.
现在发现了这点红来讲，它可能吸收不了，消化不了怎么办？趁这个现在还没干，就是用这个笔把它稍微笔尖儿水分要很少的，要把它吸出来。
Take the extra pink away from with the clean brush.
那种很不通透的出现那种局面，这种颜色在上白。
You can highlight with the white after the initial graded wash to
这点这3点白，然后再把它晕开。啊，给这个红慢慢的结起来。这个在这个红上面就尽量不要盖白，盖白了以后它显着粉，不通透。
Do not use white on top of the
咱们在衔接的过程中，有时红里边也有一些白，白里边有一些红，但尽量少盖那个红。
Only the transitional area has both pink and the semi-transparent color. So do not use white in the dark pink part.
先涂上一层白底子，这个天日光先生他们往往用这种办法。
Okay, now he's talking about the method I'm using now.
薄的。
You can use white evenly, thinly, very thin, evenly to prepare the ground.
等它干了以后，薄薄的有一层白以后，在白上面再染红，这个容易灰。
After it dries, then put pink and on top of it. But it's easy to get chalky. He doesn't recommend this on white paper. But we don't have any choice if we use a colored paper like I'm using.
还有一种就是说重彩。
Heavy color method.
这得等它干。在这个上面还可以搞罩染一层平涂，罩染一层草绿。这个水头要大，但是把积下来的这个要吸掉。
Apply a thin layer of transparent color overall to change the hue of the temperature
不要等它已经固定了以后。
But you have to take extra paints away. Do not let it try to form stain like patterns. So you use transparent green on top of the blue
也算是一种
gradation.
土染，因为它不分轻重，整个把它照一遍。要让它重一点，让它花轻重一点还可以，但是要是绿的，有绿头就行。这个等这变干了以后，还可以在这个上面涂这个朱砂，因为朱砂是不透明的。
Okay, on the graded wash, we can apply a opaque color, flat overall wash. This is used for those dark petals like camellia.
这个花青底子露出来了，这它就是粉染的那个结果出来了。
The graded wash underneath
也可以染茶花，染牡丹花。
it still shows to
这个注水法。
another method
注
is
水法这个
the
东西呢，我考虑可以多用
Tarashikomi method.
或注粉法。
It's from the Japanese terminology. One artist who studied in Japan called Chen Zhifu used this method a lot.
这个汁子画出来以后，
Use a medium ink to start with the branch or the. We can use this today on our
在冲这个未干的时候，冲它一下，拿颜色注进去。
Before the ink
这样
stroke dry, dripping some green opaque colors or
这
amber.
算是一种，实际上这算是一种墨骨。实际上
This
画
is
枝干的时候，当然
this belongs to the boneless style painting.
它这种手段，这个陈志佛经常用这种手段。
Master Chen
但这个东
Zhifu
西现在有好
use
多
this a
人
lot.
也在用这个，
Many
但是效果不好，
artists
还
use
是
it
宋
today,
人那个
but I don't like it. He says.
染村。
I like the Song style, multiple
它这个
washes.
里边给人感觉的那个知识、那个道理的含量，有时候不够。
Because this method does not convey the natural logic or principles away.
这种办法，这种注水方法、注粉
It
的
does
方
not
法少用，是吧？不是说不可以。
long-lasting. You know, it might be attractive at first glance, but it's not as long-lasting, good taste
这个
Song
有时候可
dynasty
以
style.
太多的呢，可以稍微
You can
往外
take
吸一下
you can take away some extra
有的
ink.
不吸，它出现的这种自然的一些变化，
There's
让它自己
like
吸
a
收，
natural pattern formed. Just let it
这是一种办法。这个
do its own job.
还可不是，也可以说多变而成。
The petal
假如
takes
在这个
several
基础上
washes. You can
再染
still
一
keep
层
washing with a thin layer of pink. So after the first layer dry, you can repeat this. Second brush.
这样以后它更多一个层次。
So this adds a little more depth to it.
如果要不够的话，再加层次，干了以后再拿重的东西再提它一下。
And after this dry, you can separate
这个
wash
白的
with
上面
a
可以还可以
darker color.
有粉染。
On this dried white background, we cannot do the graded wash.
所以刚才那种方法基本差不多，但是就是说在底子上面少有了一层白。
It's the same to on white paper, but because this has a white background first.
这样它的起伏会深浅变化。
Try to indicate
这地方如果要
the
是再让深一层，
gradation. You can repeat this until you reach the desired.
一般的不嫌麻烦染它3遍，
It takes at least 3 washes.
好1遍往往说还薄，
One wash is not
一层
enough.
染出的厚度来，
At least 3
有
times
体积。
to get the depths. At some point that don't be hesitate, don't repeat, that kind of tip he mentioned earlier. Okay, I'm going to concentrate on mine now. We don't have much time to continue. I'm going to stop this one. Okay. Oops, where's the birds? Where's my bird? Oh, they're still here. I thought they were gone. Anyway, I'm going to rush a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do the flat wash for the leaf also with the opaque green, just like the background color we left over from last class, if you recall the crane. So I just use that leftover color here. I wish the video helped you understand the basic method of Gongbi. This is the Gongbi painting. So Chinoiserie painting, they use separate wash a lot, but it's usually after the flat wash that the opaque background, like I'm doing here, and then you do the gradation. On white paper, you usually do the gradation with either a gray ink or the indigo for creating shading, and then you glaze it with the actual color of the petal. And for dark, for pink, for purple, light petals, you have to use separate wash just to leave the white, I think. Okay, I think since he mentioned the method of Talashikomi, I think I'm going to use it on the trunk. It's an interesting method. You can use either a gray color or gray ink. I'm gonna use this just a kind of gray neutral color, maybe with some brown as a base, some just like a light ink kind of color. Yeah, that's about it. A warm gray kind of to start with. I noticed some people showed me the trunk of the pine tree last class too dark. You want to keep it the saturation of the color low, so they're not too strong. Okay, so I'll just do a flat wash, and then we'll drop some green, some brown, you know, some opaque color to create a pattern of the stains, kind of like a natural random patterns. On the tender wine, we can use a little bit reddish brown to start with, and then we do some color with a green, blue, opaque green actually. So just draw a line like that. If you have a larger painting, you better do it like section by section, because you don't want to let it dry to drop. That won't work. So it dries pretty fast. So let me use a brush with just use this color, this green color, just dropped. Oops. It's kind of tricky. If it's too much, it just kind of covers. I try to make it kind of, it should push with a lot of water, maybe just kind of push the first color to the side to form a hard edge. That's the idea, kind of. But it takes time, you know. Just it may take time to make that to happen. Let me just do some brown. Not painting it. Dripping means literally just drop on the wet into wet. I think in Western terminology it's wet into wet. Wet into wet, but it's like a lot of color to form some kind of stain pattern. So I use two colors, maybe brown, some brown to kind of interact with. And you can also use ink to drop into light. I think if you want to drop a shadow kind of thing like that. Let me just do. So we can just use light ink. Oh, you want to make sure that I'm making a mistake. The tender stem should be green, so no ink in that. So I'm going to cover that with opaque to correct that. But this is all older woody part. This is the stem. So I'm going to color. If it's too, yeah, this is. I think this is not an easy task. Japanese art is really good when they do like a silk screen. They use this Tarashi komi method a lot on the non-absorbent, very lacquer or something, a very fluid surface, I think. So it's kind of hard for me to imitate now. the key is not to paint, let it kind of flow into each other, to we call it 撞, to impact each other.
Henry?
Yeah.
No request. If we want a painting so we could see the whole page, the second thing, green color is not white. It's the base blue, opaque, the 17, right?
I cannot hear you clearly. Sorry. I heard you want to move. You want to see the whole thing. Okay.
What's the green color? Is it green, white,
Oh, okay.
or green, the base, color? Thank you.
Okay, now you can see the whole thing. Okay. Yeah. So I try to show you the Talashi-Komi method of doing the branch, the kind of bark patterns on the branch, wet into wet, just using contrasting colors like brown and green to interact with the ink base. But if I start painting, it's kind of hard to. Okay, let it dry. Now, let me see, since we don't have much time, what we can do. I'll just do the graded wash. Let me just do the dark ones. This is glazing. We just change the hue of the white to purple first. So using an opaque, transparent color, purple, to change that. Instead of using the white in the pens, you apply it separately in different layers. So that's the whole idea of this kind of painting process. Okay. Okay. And let's see. So for the white, we want to leave the white on the top. So you want to use a separate wash, what we call the separate wash, just to get a purple. My purple is a little bit bluish, but on the sample you can see a little more reddish. This depends on your preference. So let's say if we put some purple on this lower edge, and then we use a clean brush kind of to grade it. Let's see, a little bit, maybe a little bit bigger. See, that's how it works. And just lead the, because I used the white, which is acrylic white, and it's not going to stir up. If you use regular gouache, you might have to be very careful not to brush too much. I can separate a little bit, like here I can separate maybe using dark on this side, and then on this corner, just try to get a sense of light, not really in a realistic idea. So, and just to see the second brush, as according to the professor, the Tianjin professor Huo Chunyan, he said if the brush is too dry, it drink up all the color. If it's too wet, it rains, make it too much. So you want to, this brush should be fully loaded, so it delivers the color. Okay, it delivers the color like here, and then you just pour it with the clean brush, and you can do it again here, and just pull it to the other side. Oops. The bottom of the brush is clean, so. And this brush actually, I'm using a liner. It's not so good. Maybe it's we do have like a small soft brushes you can get, but this one is a peony, small peony brush. It's still a little bit too big, but you don't want to get it all in one step. Later, you can use tiny brush and add a little accents on the like he did on the petals. You can after it dries. Okay. You can do something like that on the top, a little bit there, and just kind of pull down like that. And here, and the key is no extra moisture on the paper after each application, so it will not form any unwanted stains like on the trunk, which we do want extra lot of extra moisture to get to work. So this is a Japanese invented technique, but nowadays everybody uses it in China also. So the dripping technique. And anybody in the background need to mute yourself if you. We hear some like some area you may have extended to the edge. You can use white to cover the to modify it some like after it dries. I think you can modify the shape.
Henry?
Yeah.
Henry?
We have only 2 minutes, huh? Yeah.
Henry?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Henry, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Before someone was asking about what was that green color? Was that green gouache?
No.
I'm guessing that you used the Sanqing, the Chinese.
Oh yeah.
Color, right?
That's the color we used for the background wash last time. It's a mixture of sanlü and yellow and a little bit. Remember this one? I saved it from last class. It's a sanlü to start with, and then yellow, and then some taiqingnan, phthalo blue, and a little bit of ink to mute it if needed. See, this is opaque because the sanqing. You can use white and what's the turquoise. Turquoise is the closest in Western painting to mineral colors.
So this voice is on me.
We're hearing some private conversation there. Sorry, you can mute yourself. Okay, if we do the dark first here, you can drop a white, just like we did on the trunk. That's also a Tarashikomi concept. You can drop just like you use a lot of water. So that's called the mogu style. If you use two brush to control it, the mogu style, bonus style, has no control. You have to be very experimental, I think. So on the other hand, the traditional method, the Song Dynasty method, like this, multiple wash technique, it requires time and patience. So you can achieve very precise effect with more control. So let's add a little bit warm color to the green to do the stems near the flower. Let's see, just a tender green color. Maybe if someone have to leave, you can leave. It's recorded, so you can come back to watch. Another way is, if you cannot stay longer, we can cut short, and maybe we finish after the class.
I can stay another 25 minutes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let me try to finish within this time frame. Okay. Here's another branch. It goes behind. So be very careful what's the woody part and the grass. What we call grass, 草. I don't know. It's the herbal part, grass part, the woody part. This is the grass part of the stem, right? And you use green directly. Transparent green is fine. Because on this colored paper, you always use a little opaque. Okay, here is a stem. So we want to use the same color on the trunk again. I think I'm not very successful with this touch missing. That's why you can see why the instructor, the professor, doesn't like it, because it's not really controllable sometimes. If you start to interfere with brush, it becomes unnatural. That's another. So don't paint it. That's let it naturally happen. That's very. I think it may have to do with the silk or the paper or something. They use it on the silk lacquer screen. So that must be very, non-absorbent and very fluid. So so the pens runs into each other. Okay, let me drop a little bit. We just go directly with the blue. So it's dropping, not painting. You just put like a little mustards. It's probably just an idea, like wet into wet. You can put a cold into warm. That kind of idea, same like concept. But it's just one shot. You cannot really go back and change that. I think, sometimes I go back to this ink and glaze. It's still possible, I think. So I'm going to finish this part first. So let me keep doing this. I'll just use violet, ultraviolet color for basic purple. So I paint some dark around the edge. We can add a little bit. Red color, magenta color, or add some blue to this part. And then you use a clean brush, damp brush, not too dry, not too wet. Okay, then pull it towards the light part, whichever down or up, depends on what you need. And you can leave some white, and then use clean water to kind of soften everything together. But it's not good idea to have that kind of bleeding feel. It should be graded. Yeah. So dry. Really, this brush should be pretty thirsty, but not too thirsty, I think. You can use a stiff brush. Sometimes stiff brush may be powerful to pour the brush colors. Okay, we can try to make. I think usually the dark is around the edge. The center is the point, but you want to have a little bit color, so the yellow will show, I think. So take away the extra and then dry it with a paper towel. Keep a paper towel outside. Okay, I just paint like an outline, then pull it. It's a little bit too dry, but it's more controlled. Okay. I try not to give you feel like I'm outlining it. Try to make it like an edge. The edge, it actually could be a white edge. So you leave a little white edge on top. You can create something like this. I think that's very interesting. I'm going to do it like that. So you leave a little extra, like a double edge. That's very interesting, very realistic feel. It looks like it pops, yeah. So let me do this. Just leave a little bit white. White. Yeah. But don't overdo it. Just a little bit. Let me just like tell people I know this is what you're looking for. I give you a little bit. That shows the thickness of the petal a little bit. Okay, that works. Just a little bit. Okay, here. Don't have to do everything the same way, just to simplify, just to combine them. This is in the distance, so we have the aerial perspective or whatever. It becomes less detailed. Okay, now I have to finish this stamp here. Okay, you can just paint with a thick paints in one take, or you can go back and do in multiple layers. Okay, the bird is obviously too pastelish, so we can add some saturation with you can get a transparent green. I just mix some yellow, some blue here. I use some vibrant colors, and I'm thinking to make it like we can just make it dark. I think like a dark electric blue. I'm not sure. Not too electric. Just a peacock kind of color. Show some. I think it's still opaque. Well, my bird is standing on the edge of the nest now. Be my model. Okay. Yeah, I like the brown in their chest. The chest is white. Under here, there's some brown. I like that. Okay, let's do a little bit. See, this is the same like a graded wash. We used a lot here and there. Okay, that's and let's do. I'm still thinking what color on the chin, under the chin. It's probably white. just grade it. Okay. So basically, you finish all the colors, and then you use the dark to add the feather and the hair texture. You can paint it in an abstract way, like just a pattern of little bars for the hair. In the sample painting, if you look at the original, I think it's from the style of a Shanghai schoolmaster called Ren Bonian. He's very good at birds, and he does this feather in a very decorative way. So let me just do the brown, and then we'll do the black, I think. I'm looking at my real birds here. Okay, so the tail, they haven't grown the tail yet. Let me just imagine. I maybe need a small brush. I have a small brush here. Okay. The back and the head should be separated in different colors, but let it dry, because we cannot really keep doing it wet into wet. So I'm going to finish the other details. So a little bit color separate wash on the leaves is needed. We can just use a ready-made green here, I think a sap green or whatever. Let me see. You can add brown to the green to get a darker green. Let me see. Okay, I got just a mix of brown and some green here. So I see on the sample there, you can just make some random color variations. I think sometimes it's maybe a effect of light or the side, the front side and the back side. Or you can just do a even wash, because you don't really want to emphasize on the leaf, right? So less detail on the leaf. Just put a center vein with a darker color, that will be it. Oh, let me just change the hue from pastelish green to a regular natural green. That's first. And some younger leaves may have some yellow in it. Don't worry about this middle line. We can come back to draw it later. Yeah, just stay within the boundary. The outline is a good idea. Just color all these little stems behind on top of the flowers. There's a little calyx, which is maybe yellowish or brownish. I'm not sure. It could be same color as the stem, so, but there's some calyx there. Like that. Not every one of them. You don't really see them on the bud. Yes, on the top of the upper part of the bud, right? And you can add a little brown to vary the color a little bit, make it more natural. If it's too pastelish, you can add some yellow and brown to it. Okay, let's see. It's a little bit rough. For the head, I think we probably have to darken that, so it will be different than the back, which is more jade-ish. Let's just do with a deeper color. You can make it really into black, but I just add the purple. It will turn into black, I think. Okay. Yeah, you can see the bird's head is pretty dark. And you can grade it a little bit, but basically it's darker than the back. And should I have a circle around the eye? You can do that with a very tiny little brush, or just draw it with the pen, I think. Okay, let me just vary the color a little bit. Bother a little warmer there. Okay, I think we need some color to echo that warm, so we can add a little bit just the vermilion color, or orange color. Let's just do this, and then you grade it a little bit, pull it to the back. Oops, I think it's a little bit over. I have to go back to the white, maybe. Okay, don't forget that leg. That could be a yellow color to start with, then you can brown it if you need. Or you can just make it darker than the branch. Or the beak is, let me make it yellow, orange yellow, with a red, maybe. It's really shiny. Okay. Let's make the deck a little bit darker. we'll use blue to do the joints and those pattern. And you can just use a pen. I'm not sure for the lines, or little tiny little brush. We have those brush are not. I think the same thickness as this one. So you can, after it dries, you can draw a little bit pattern of the feather. Don't use dry brush, just to make it neat, like a. I'll show you this here. So for this lines, you can draw it. Okay, if you draw this direction, just do it in a group of 5, maybe, just like almost like a pine needle kind of, but not separate so much. Some you can look at the second colored the bonus style painting. They have this kind of. Gongbi painting is really time consuming. I think so. We need to do it in multiple classes. If we try to do it to finish the painting, you have to spend more time before the class. Okay. I try not to paint like oil, but sometimes if you want to cover something, you have to use thick paints. There's a bleed there. I try to cover it. Okay, that's about it. I think other than the little details, I will work after the class and then show you the result, either in social media and my online class. So just to add me or join the online class for final, or I can show you the next class to also see your work in the beginning of next class. Next lesson we'll learn how to do the wild chicken called the pheasant, right? The hunting. The hunted birds in the past. We can also do peacock or phoenix with more complicated maybe. So we'll do a natural garden with a pheasant. It's a very common theme in British wallpaper. Okay. Any other questions? I think we have to end it. Let me sign it. If I sign, I will see. I think either this side or this, not in the middle, so maybe a little bit lower here. I think here somewhere.
Oh.
If you want to hide it, you can hide it maybe under this branch somewhere. Okay. Oh, the pollens, you can use a little bit yellow, and let's go a little white into the lemon, maybe a little bit warm yellow can be, and just dot a little. You don't have to grade it, just dot on in the center where near the bottom of the top petal, where the two groups of petal meets. Just 2 dots on each side. You can grade it, but don't have to. Just sometimes I just dot one. It's enough. Just some yellow in the center of the flower to really make it shine. Okay. to change the hue of the leaf, you need to go with the transparent, saturated color. You can also use opaque if you want. But opaque will cover what has been done. So usually semi-opaque or transparent. It's good. I think we may need a little bit warm color here, so just add a little orange color on top of this for the tender leaves. And if you know, see this is we need more definition, then you can come back with dark after it dries. But to add the veins, add back the veins. Now it's covered. Okay. You can make the wing a little bit red here. I think it's a little. Yeah, we need to have the dark feathers on that. I added a little feather in the middle, maybe not necessary. Okay, let's see. If it's like too scattered, you can do overall unifying wash to bring them together. If you need some separate, some more detail, you can use a graded wash alternatively to get the final effect. Okay. This side, I think it's not being mounted yet because I want to see something the what's underneath the pattern template, but now we don't need that. So we'll sign it, and we can use a little ink. Okay, we'll put I think we can. I think I just put a name. It's part of the design, so it's very important. Usually not in the ending part. It could be somewhere you want to stop the eye from moving out, force the eye back to the picture. So maybe somewhere here. So I would do. So that kind of stop that tendency. It goes back to this finish. You understand? And can put seal. You can put the seal on the side or under it. Under it is more common. And you want to avoid the same level as the hanging branch, right? So there are a lot of things, rules. It's very common rules in design or painting, like the parallels or tangents, that kind of things you need to follow. Also, the natural laws you need to follow. So if you can master as many as those principles, you'll be a good painter in any media. Now, if it's too flat, you can always go back to add graded wash or double brush wash, or you can just add a little accent and then soften a little bit. That's all, to bring out the spirit, we call it, to highlight, to accentuate, to add accent to the painting. So just keep an eye on the whole, so the focus is in this branch. Okay. I think that's all today.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think you have learned some extra tips from the video. Also, I hope you can. I will send a link maybe to you can. I think in the I can send in the chat, so you can review that. Even though it's in Chinese, it's good demo. Okay. So let's see. I think we did here in this.
Thank you, and Yuli has to go, and
okay.
Harry, you have such a beautiful printing, so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, this is another video from the Vogue paper company. I think I cannot find that. Where is that link? Anyway, so you can maybe search under Huo Chunyang. Let me see. This is
check your history. Check.
Yeah, I tried to let me open link. Check history. It won't go back. Okay. I got lost. Sorry. But anyway, we already recorded this in this lesson, so you can just review what has been translated, because it was in Chinese. So I already translated that. Just review the playback in this lesson, you'll get that. Okay, so that's all